Hey everyone, welcome to Insights with Benny, a space where ideas meet action, where stories inspire reflection, and perspectives challenge the status quo. Whether you're here for clarity, challenge, or quiet wisdom, this is your place. Today's episode is titled Echoes Behind the Wall. When fragments are mistaken for the whole, illusion becomes truth. Echoes Behind the Wall unveils how limited perspectives in echo chambers shape our beliefs, and how freedom begins with the courage to climb higher for a clearer view. As always, these are straight from the heart of Insight's blog. Let's begin. The Reign of Illusion. The city of Dryden lived next to the city of Riverton, but a tall stone wall separated the two. The wall was so high that people of Dryden could never see what life was truly like in Riverton. So over time, speculations grew. Some in Dryden imagined Riverton as a land of endless rivers. Others believed Riverton was rich with forests, where trees dripped with honey. A few claimed Riverton's soil was rich with fertility, while their land, Dryden, remained cursed with dust. One day, out of curiosity, a group of townsfolk dug a hole through the wall. When they peered through, they saw droplets of water falling on the ground. "Look," they cried, "it rains all the time in Riverton." Crowds gathered, peered through the same hole, nodded and said, "Yes, they have an abundance of rain there. That is why their crops grow and their land is green." Soon the story spread through Dryden. In shops and cafes, people told each other how Riverton enjoyed constant rainfall. Songs were written about it, movies showed it, and children were taught of their misfortune. Dryden, the land of drought; Riverton, the land of rain. But then one day a man built a ladder. His name was Maverick. He climbed above the wall and looked properly into Riverton. What he saw surprised him. It was not rain. The skies were clear, the fields green, and the mountains majestic. But the droplets they saw came not from the sky, but from a raised tank that dropped water into the field, which when glimpsed through the hole, looked like rainfall. Maverick returned to his people and explained to them, "It does not rain all the time in Riverton. What you see is only water from a tank. Their skies are not so different from ours," Maverick told them. But the people shook their heads. "How can we trust you?" Only one man climbed the ladder. "Hundreds of us have looked through the wall and seen the rain with our own eyes. Why should we believe you over so many witnesses?" The crowd scoffed. The story continued. Generations repeated it as truth. Riverton, the city of endless rain. The hole in the wall remained their proof. Anyone who doubted was led there, shown the falling drops, and silenced. Meanwhile, Maverick's words faded like whispers in the wind, for they had chosen their belief. The people clung to the comfort of their story, that while their land was dry, Riverton enjoyed endless rain. Over time, even Maverick's name was folded into the tale. Parents told their children, "A man once claimed the rain was not real. He tried to deceive us, but the hole still shows the drops, and the rain has never stopped. Let his folly be a warning." And so the tall stone wall did more than separate the two cities. It divided truth from illusion. What began as curiosity in Dryden became conviction. And a lie repeated many times became the foundation of a social reality. Through the hole or over the wall. Understanding perspective and perception. We live in an age of information saturation, yet we crave minimalism. We want everything in quick, easy bites. Fast to consume, simple to digest, and ready to repeat. But the Reign of Illusion story reminds us that our perspectives and perceptions often shape reality more than truth itself. What we see, especially when it is partial or biased, can drastically distort our understanding of the world. Just like the people of Dryden, we face a high wall of an information gap on issues. Whether it is information about health, food, relationships, or broader concerns such as security, peace of mind, financial freedom, and social order, we long to know what lies beyond the surface. These are complex issues, yet most of us approach them by peering through small holes rather than climbing ladders. In the quest for clarity, speculation fills the gaps. We turn to what is popular, what is trending, or what is repeated around us. We rely on media headlines, viral posts, or conversations within our social circles. These fragments of information are easy to access and comforting to share. Like the droplets seen through the wall, they seem clear and convincing. But as the Rain of Illusion story shows, what looks like endless rain may only be the trickle from a tank. The danger lies in mistaking fragments for the full picture. Opinions repeated often enough begin to sound like truth, and collective agreement can feel more reliable than lone voices that challenge the majority. Yet reality shows us that truth is rarely found at first glance, and sometimes the unpopular perspective, the maverick on the ladder, offers the closest view of reality. If we rely only on the narrow hole in the wall, we risk building a truth on illusions. But when we choose to climb higher for a clearer view, we discover that reality may be far different and far more complex than the stories we've been told. The hole in the wall, how belief shapes perception. In the Reign of Illusion story, the people of Dryden responded to their uncertainty not by climbing the wall, but by speculating about what life must be like on the other side. From the very beginning, their curiosity was satisfied with guesses, not with truth. This is often how many of our ideas about the world are formed. Much of what we believe is not based on what we have seen ourselves, but on what others have speculated, passed down, or repeated with confidence. We rarely question these hand-down truths, especially when they come from people or institutions we trust. When the people of Dryden dug a small hole through the wall, what they saw seemed convincing enough. Falling drops of water, which they quickly concluded was rain. That hole became their proof. These holes are the fragments of information we receive from the media or other trusted agencies. A story gains traction because it is catchy, dramatic, or repeated often. Examples include tales like, "This food will make you live longer." "There are ways to lose weight while sleeping." "There is a study which proves that neighbors can't be trusted." "There is a testimony of someone who started a cafe with one coffee bean." When these stories are repeated long enough, the claims stop feeling like speculation and start sounding like fact. We often assume information is reliable because media outlets employ professionals or because trusted friends share them. Yet even professionals can be swayed by bias, limited perspective, or hidden interests. Context is what separates fact from illusion. In the story, the people looking through the hole in the wall were not entirely wrong. There really were drops of water falling. Yet they were not entirely right either, because what they interpreted as endless rain was only water drops from a tank. This shows us that without climbing the ladder to see the bigger picture, partial truths can look like the whole truth. In the same way, a news story, a trending social media post, or even an academic paper can be accurate in what it shows but misleading in what it leaves out. To know the difference, one must go beyond the hole in the wall and climb the wall for a better perspective. Echoes of belief. The art of bias and consensus. Belief and bias shaped the story of Dryden. The people were predisposed to believe in Riverton's reign because it explained their own hardship, why their land was dusty while Riverton's was green. That belief became a lens, and once it was in place, every piece of information that affirmed it was embraced, while anything that challenged it was rejected. Maverick's testimony, though clearer and more accurate, was dismissed because it contradicted the popular narrative. This is how bias works. If we believe weight can be lost while sleeping, we seek voices that affirm the view. If we dislike a person, no achievement of theirs will change our perspective of them, even if they showed us favor. If we are desperate for quick wealth, we listen to anyone who promises it can be built from nothing. Bias filters information and ensures we only see what we already expect. Even when there were reports, posts, or publications that support Maverick's account, bias narrows the feed to highlight only the stories of rainfall, and that becomes all the people will see and hear. From the effects of bias comes the danger of echo chambers. In Dryden, the tale of constant rainfall was repeated so often through songs, plays, and conversations that it became the only story people knew. The number of believers gave the illusion of truth. Echo chambers form when we surround ourselves with like-minded voices, whether through social media feeds, curated news sources, or close-knit circles of agreement. Opinions grow louder but not necessarily truer. Groupthink takes over from echo chambers, making it harder to recognize errors or alternative perspectives. Availability bias also creeps in. We start to judge what is normal or universal based only on what is common in our own environment. Over time, this narrows our world into a bubble of homogeneous views. The lone voice of Maverick that disagrees is dismissed as a conspiracy theory, delusional, or even dangerous. Furthermore, when belief, bias, and repetition converge, they form a trap. A story told often enough within a closed circle begins to feel like the only possible truth. The more voices echo it, the harder it becomes to question. Over time, people stop asking whether a story is accurate and instead measure truth by how many agree with it. In the era of AI, algorithms intensify this effect by feeding us more of the same, pulling similar stories and topics until we start to feel that the story is everywhere. This is the trap of the false consensus effect. Just as the people of Dryden assumed everyone knew Riverton was the land of eternal rain, people immersed in a social media thread or close-knit community of agreement may begin to think, everyone believes this, then it must be true. But their sample is narrow, shaped more by proximity and repetition than by reality. In the same way, a group of academics and professionals not in touch with reality may circulate an idea only within their own circle, discussing and affirming it without broader review, mistaking agreement within the group for public consensus. They are then surprised when the wider public resists. They often respond by dismissing or labeling critics. This highlights the danger of the false consensus effect. Climbing the ladder. Choosing a wider view. The story of Dryden shows us how easily a narrative can form around an illusion, and how difficult it is to break free once belief hardens into an identity. The easiest path is often to accept the first story we hear and have come to accept. We prefer to stay in our comfort zones because the views feel satisfying. The stories are easy to repeat and easy to believe. But like the people of Dryden, we risk mistaking water drops from a tank for endless rain. Finding a ladder means daring to go higher, even when it feels uncomfortable. Like Maverick, who chose to climb rather than stare through the hole, we too must take steps that others may dismiss. It is not about chasing quick solutions, but about building steady habits. Choosing movement over shortcuts, balance over quick fixes. It is about asking harder questions. The ladder is not always glamorous, but it offers a truer view. Each step, like Maverick's climb, brings us closer to seeing clearly, beyond illusions, and toward a reality rooted in clarity and truth. Reflection. The tragedy of Dryden was not the wall, nor even the drops from the tank, but the choice to believe the easier story. Peering through a hole was familiar, and familiarity felt safer than the effort of climbing higher. We trust shortcuts because they promise results without sacrifice. We echo the crowd because it feels risky to think differently. Yet as long as we look through the hole in the wall, we will never see the bigger picture. Like Maverick, we have the choice to climb. Sometimes the climb is as simple as reading more deeply, asking harder questions, or taking action for a change. The wall is real, but it is not the problem. The stories we believe are powerful, but they are not set in stone. Freedom begins the moment we choose to climb for ourselves and see reality as it truly is. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Share them on social and tag me. Please subscribe to my channels. Follow, like, share, and help spread the message. Until next time, stay reflective.